there's a lot of churches and things of that nature and ministries, but what people are really looking for is that one-on-one walk with the Most High God, not this stuff where people feel like they got to go through a man or a woman to get to God, or if they don't interact with a man or a woman this type of way because of their title or their leadership or whatever, then God don't, they can't hear from God, and they just no. We ain't doing that. That's what the Most High was showing in that first part. All right, let's go to the second part of the dream. Okay. So, like I said, when I closed out the first part, I said it had gotten darker outside, and it said continue to get darker, and it eventually went pitch black. And then when it started again, I was in a vehicle, me and my best friend back there, my battle buddy, who was also in Iraq with me at that time. And when it started light up again, it looked like this picture here. So it wasn't much more light, and we were flying in my friend's car. Flying like we had to be doing like 180 miles an hour, 200 miles. Now we were just flying, trying to get somewhere. And this lightning was happening in the sky. The sky had that purple tint. This is a great picture to illustrate what we were seeing. And when it wasn't lightning like that, the only time you really saw the sky is when it would lightning. So I don't even know how we were flying in the whip that fast, because there's parts where it was dark, and then you'd see again when the lightning would flash. It was crazy. So yeah, I wrote, somewhere we ended up at this big house. Okay. Now, this is the best thing I could find on the internet, but basically the house that we went to, it was a humongous house, and like a mansion on top of mansions. And we ran in when we got there. When we got in there was an oversized window, and we could still see the lightning and stuff that was, no, baby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We could still see the lightning and stuff that was going on the outside through the oversized window. Okay. Now, suddenly, a tornado was in the distance, and we saw it through the oversized window. And the tornado came towards the house, and it picked up the house we were in, this big mansion. It picked it up. It threw it into the air. But we did not panic. We were more concerned with survival than normal human emotions in that kind of situation. That sounds kind of like a soldier mind frame to me. Meaning, when the house was snatched into the air, we didn't like start screaming and hollering and crying, and no, we ain't do nothing like that. Basically, so we started trying to survive. I was on one side of the room, and my brother was on the other. The side I was on is the side that tilted up, and I was able to hang on something attached to the ceiling. Now, let's see. Oh, that's another tornado picture. Yeah,
Did it throw it down?
huh?
Did it throw it down?
What you mean?
Is this
No,
throwing?
we're not there yet.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, there we go. Okay, this picture right here is from a video I had, I think, during the deployment, where I think I went to something called Freedom Rest, and had these humongous chandeliers. Well, the thing that I grabbed hold of was a chandelier, giant chandelier like that. When the house went up, it says, I was really concerned about my friend, my brother, because his side of the house tilted down. And I guess that's why I got it. Yes. Okay. His side of the house tilted down. No, this thing was way up in the air. When I say this thing snatched this thing up in the air, maybe have you ever rode you ever been to theme park and you go sit in that? Oh God, this brought another crazy thought. That thing you sit down in is dangerous. I think we rode it one time in Panama City when we was kids. Yeah, you sit in it and it shoots you straight up in the air. That's somewhat what it felt like, but worse because we weren't strapped down. So anyway, his side of the house tilted down, and it looked like he was going to fly through that oversized window. And I was really concerned for my friend because he and praise Yah, this part of his life is past. It's gone because yeah, I thought he was dead. He had got knocked unconscious. He was like hitting walls and he was really getting beat down and slammed and just really messed up. And I'm sitting here hanging on the chandelier. And that's what helped. That's what kept me from getting like really beat up and destroyed. That's what kept me from flying all around the house like my friend was. But yes, the house flipped up to where my friend came flying to me. I reached out to my friend, my arm, and he grabbed it. Then he grabbed some more of my body. So he was like hanging off. He grabbed onto my waist and my legs, and he just clung on. And I'm hanging on the chandelier, and my friend's hanging on me. So he was actually able to use me like I was using the chandelier in the ceiling to keep from flying all around the house. Okay, the house was still flying around the air, but I could tell that it came to a point where it was coming down. And I looked through that oversized window and I could see a city. But I saw that we were going to land also on this tall tree. So we braced ourselves. Oh my God. This is what I wrote in 2008, braced ourselves. There's so many watchmen and watchwomen and prophets and people using that term nowadays, brace yourself, brace yourself, brace yourself. That is the word of the hour. So we braced ourselves the best we could. When the house fell on the tree, we were so amazed. It was a miracle because the tree could have gone through one of us or both of us. Because the tree went and I could not see that the next slide. The tree. This is not a.
Could have done that.
Yeah, this is not a perfect depiction of what it was, but the house was here, and the house came down on top of the tree, and it split the house right down the middle. That's why we were freaked out in the dream, and we knew it was a miracle because we didn't get hit or split as well by the tree. Some miraculous way. I said, but we finally crashed after the house slid down the tree like a corn dog, a stick through a corn dog, or like a shish kebab. Okay. I remember us getting out of the house once it had crashed, and the house crashed, and I wrote that it looked like a crashed spaceship. Now, this is the best thing I could find on the internet as well. This original picture has nothing to do with the dream, but that's the best I could find of a spaceship, I guess. But no, for real, the house, when it crashed and we got up and we started dusting ourselves off, we were unscathed. All the rubble from the house, it looked like a crashed spaceship. It was very bizarre. I'll get to that. We dusted ourselves off and started looking, standing in place of our surroundings. What our surroundings were. I thought at first we were in South Carolina, like Fort Jackson. But it seemed that we might have been in the projects. Okay.
Is that what you?
Hold on, because the way.
For?
Hold on. Let me get this straight. Because some of this, I'm the type of person, when I have dreams, sometimes I have flashbacks in my dreams, and I have more detail. So when I initially wrote this, there was parts that I did not write down. When we dusted ourselves off and we're looking around at our surroundings, we were in a wooded area.
Okay.
Like this. Yeah. In a very
dark,
wooded, dark, tree-like area. And then we started walking out of the woods and the trees. And that's when we I'm sorry, I'm running out of steam. That's when we we stumbled upon a place, or walked to a place that kind of looked like Fort Jackson. Why Fort Jackson? Because it had these housing units that were brick. But I also saw this type of housing units when I was in Fort Carson, Colorado. See, you can go to the next thing. It was like a brick city. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there before I go to the third part of the dream. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Go one more, baby. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell y'all something. My wife and I were in transition into our living spaces last year, and where we're at now. And I remember one night I was driving to where we're at, our home now, and the sky was lighting up like this last year.
I remember that.
And I called my wife. I said, yo, this is happening. This dream is happening.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. So let me explain to you the second portion of the dream. That friend I was with in that dream, we were always and have always been on a gospel kingdom mission, you know. And we used to ride around and just look for people to witness to and minister to. This is back before either of us had children. Either of us were married. We was always on some like Book of Acts type of witnessing. And that's what us flying in the car was symbolic of. Now the house that we came to, this big mansion, that house was the United States.
Mm.
That house is the United States.
Mm.
And of course, that's where we live. That's where we're from. That tornado that picked up that house, that is everything that is happening today. See, this dream started in what was my present back then in that deployment, right there in ancient Babylon, because that's what Iraq is. Iraq is ancient Babylon. With Nebuchadnezzar and everything you read in the Bible, that's where we were at. We were in ancient Babylon. And when we were over there, I believe something happened in the spirit. I believe there was some type of initiation in the spirit. I don't know if it was dealing with a principality or something happened in the spirit while we were over there. And something in the spirit came back with us. And I'm not talking about me and my friend. I'm talking about the United States military. Like we brought something back with us. And that set the destination of this nation. And that is why, and another reason why this nation is known as Mystery Babylon in the West or in the scripture. And Mystery Babylon is not just a place, it is a system that influences the entire world. That's why in the book of Revelations, when it says the merchants, when Babylon had been burnt with fire, the merchants cried out, the merchants of the world, saying, alas, that great city, alas. It's because Babylon wasn't just a city, it's a system. And that tornado, it took up that house. That is everything you're seeing in the United States right now. Is the polarization, is the degradation of society, the what is a better word? The decaying of society.
Destruction of it.
Yes. 2020 shook the entire world with the pandemic, or what some people call the plandemic. Well, now we're in a whole nother level of polarization. And it's based around Babylon, Mystery Babylon, or the United States system, or the system of the West. It is based upon that, where some people are saying, we support this nation, or we support this nation. And that thing is tearing this house up. It's tearing even worse than what happened in 2020 with the pandemic. Not only did you have the pandemic back then, you had agents of chaos stirring up all kinds of social issues. We had movements going on and riots and protests. We had things that rip people apart from one another rather than bringing them together. And some of these things were done by like I said, agents of chaos. And you will see in this last part of the dream who these agents of chaos, who they really are. I'm gonna go, and now we're not going there yet. That tree, when that house fell, pride coming before fall. When that house fell on top of a tree, split the house in half. You and I, we are going to witness the complete separation of the United States of America. Mystery Babylon. This thing will be divided down the middle. It's already looking that way, but it's going to get worse. There's going to be all kinds of civil unrest and chaos. Some people are even talking about civil war. And history shows that when a nation is polarized and politically divided to a certain level, that is something that can very well happen. So I believe that's going to happen. And that nations that we are currently in conflict and at war with are going to take advantage of that, and they are going to come here supposedly on a peacekeeping mission. That is what the Most High has been showing me. Not only through this dream, but other dreams and visions. Okay. So that is what that second part of that dream is. And we're in it. We are in it. The house is in the air. Everything's being shaken and torn up. We have to hang on to the light, the chandelier. I was hanging on to the chandelier. That's why I'm still here today. Because I was hanging on to the chandelier. Even my friend, from his dream, he's here today. Because he was also hanging on to the chandelier. But there was a certain part of his life where he had to hang on to me because I was hanging on to the chandelier. So we cannot let go of the chandelier. We cannot let go of the light. We see the darkness, and it's this darkness and the lawlessness is increasing throughout the world. But we have to hang on to the light. We cannot let go of the chandelier. And when we crash, not when we crash, but when the house crashes, which is going to crash, and it is crashing, you will be unscathed.
Yes.
You will get up and knock the dust and dirt off yourself and keep it pushing. Okay? Now that brings me, hold on, let me say one more thing. What does it look like to hang on to the chandelier during these times? Some people have been hanging on to the light. No matter what's been going on with this pandemic that happened a couple of years ago, all this political turmoil and stuff, even with the polarization that's taking place right now, some people are hanging on to the light. They're not allowing the media to divide them and make them say, we support this nation, and we support this kingdom, and we support that kingdom. And within, they're not doing that. They are saying, we are of the kingdom of heaven. We are peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall see God. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. But blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall see God. We see God. You see what I'm saying? In the midst of all this other chaos and stuff going on. We're not being ripped in half. We won't be destroyed
Yes.
when the house burns or crashes.
Yes.
Part of hanging on to the light today, though, is being very in tune with the Spirit of God. There are things you should be doing. There are things you should be gathering. If you are able to, trust me, the Most High God is telling you to gather things and put things in order, set things in order. Not just for yourself, but for others.
Yes.
Okay? All right. I think we need to go to the third part of the drink. Oh, what you got, baby?
One thing that I heard in the spirit when you were telling about the tree, because I didn't remember the part where the house got split,
Right.
and the tree kind of caught it. But one thing that was made very clear was that while the house hasn't split yet, spiritually it already has, because the things that happen in the physical are just manifestations of what is already going on in the spiritual. And what will happen when the house splits physically, that it will be a sort of freedom and liberation for those soldiers who were looking for the truth, they were looking in all these places and weren't really finding exactly what they were looking for. But the same way that the temple was split, the veil was split, okay? The house, now that it's split, those who are hanging on to the light, okay, they will still be there, and others will be able to see them and say, aha, now it will become more of a great awakening type situation.
Yes.
For those who are really seeking after the Most High and His ways. And there will be a greater demand for people to have His Spirit and to be led by His Spirit, because all of the things that they've been relying on this whole time are now not there for them to rely on. And they really see their vulnerability and need the Most High in every way that they might not have realized before.
That's right. When this nation crashes economically, my wife is right on point. When this nation crashes economically and the dollar is not what it used to be, which with inflation and stuff going on today, but we ain't seen the fullness of that yet. When that dollar does not make Americans who they used to be in their international standing with the rest of the world, and when Americans are looked down upon and looked funny upon and treated differently internationally, there'll be a great humility upon the land. And when people are not able to move the same way because of, I'm trying to be careful what I say, because of attacks and things that happen to the land and security measures that are taken to keep people contained and keep civil unrest, try to quell civil unrest. Like a lot of the things that people have put their security in today are going to be destroyed when this house crashes.
And all the false and phony, you'll be able to completely see through.
Yes. And it's crazy because the house, when it crashed, it was turned to it was a bunch of broken spaceship. You hearing all this stuff about spaceships and different beings and stuff in the media, and they've been on this stuff. They're releasing this stuff honestly to try to take people's attention off of the wars that are going on and the atrocities that are going on, and that and what they are doing politically in terms of restructuring the earth and the world into their new world order. That's the phenomenon. But there's also something going to take place called Project Bluebeam, and people are going to be fooled into thinking a rapture is happening. People are going to also be fooled into worshiping fallen angels. People are going to be fooled into following the Antichrist. People are going to be fooled into the signs and wonders that the Antichrist and the beast, there's going to be things happening that are done demonically through men. And people are going to fall for it. People are going to think that's God. And it's not God. That's why I say you gotta hold on to the light. Keep holding on to the light. There's a scripture in Matthew chapter 24 where it says, if anybody says, there is the Messiah, or there is it's right there, the Messiah, we saw him, he's out there, he's over there. Say, don't go over there. Stay away. There's a reason for that. Because some of this technology they got today, they can put up holograms and all kinds of stuff and make people think they are seeing things that they are not seeing. Now you do it to people too while they're already in a heightened state of fear, and because of chaos and stuff like that, people are gonna go for it. That's why I keep saying the just shall live by faith. The just shall live by faith. Whether you are Hebrew, Gentile, whatever you are, the just shall live by faith. Hebrews have to live by faith. Believers in Messiah have to live by faith. Okay? All right, let's go to the third part of this drink. I'm starting to get sleepy.